What's up, Sports Talk Detroit? In this, I want to talk about Saddiq Bey and how he is doing at this point. And I want to know, before the year started, I did a player preview on pretty much every Piston on the roster. And I understand we're not at the halfway point, but I think NBA fans traditionally view the All-Star break as the halfway point of the NBA season. So what better time to do mid-season report cards? Is this something you want to see as a Pistons fan? Do you want to know how these guys are doing, what the future could hold? Have they lived up to expectations? Haven't they lived up to expectations? I want to talk about Saddiq Bey in this one. He's fresh off the Rising Stars game where they lost in the final to Cade Cunningham, so we're not upset. But he once again showed why he is such an integral part to the future for the Pistons. So let's start with some stats, and then we'll jump into, has he overachieved this year? Has he underachieved? And what does the future look like for Saddiq Bey as a Detroit Piston? So he's playing almost 34 minutes a game. He's getting a lot of run, and I think part of that is because he can equally play the 3 or the 4 very, very well. He's at almost 35% now for the year from 3. It started much lower, 83% from the line, averaging almost 6 boards, almost 3 assists, a steal, and a little over 1 turnover a game, all while compiling together to be 15.9 points per game. I actually thought it would be a little higher, but I think what's happening here and what you're seeing with Saddiq Bey this year is he got out of the gates at an alarmingly slow rate. Like, he couldn't shoot. I remember doing a video maybe 2 weeks into the season, and Saddiq was still averaging like 16, 17, 18 points, but he couldn't hit a 3. Like, he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. And I talked about why this is so encouraging that he's still scoring. And then he continued not to be able to shoot for another month and a half to 2 months. And now all of a sudden, over the last month and a half, he's just kind of blown up. Like, in a very good way. He's shooting at a more efficient clip. And Saddiq Bey is doing what none of us really thought he could do, at least not this quick. He's almost turned into a 3-level scorer. And before you go off on me and be like, no, come on, Craig, he's not a 3-level scorer. Actually, he kind of is. He's shown the ability to blow by you at times and get to the hoop. I'm not saying he finishes at a ridiculously good rate. He can play you in the post. His mid-range game, he likes that fadeaway. It's coming along. And I think when we see Saddiq, what has been amazing to me is his ability to get off the 3 with a hand in his face, with someone guarding him. Last year it was catch and shoot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot, catch and shoot. Did I say catch and shoot? This year, a lot of times he has the ball in his hand for 4, 5, 6, sometimes even 7 seconds before getting his shot up. He's creating his own shot. You need guys who can create their own shot. I did not think Saddiq Bey would be that. Now, with that being said, is he efficient at doing it? No, he's not. He's not efficient yet. But last year, if you told me that he was going to be finishing around the rim at an even decent rate, I would have laughed at you. We all joked, and we had the jokes about Saddiq has a negative vertical and all that kind of stuff. Not this year. He's found a way to score, like I said, at all 3 levels. And while he's not doing it at an alarmingly efficient rate in the mid-range and under the basket or close to the basket, don't you think it's safe to assume that if he has jumped this far from year 1 to year 2, that year 2 to year 3, we could see even a similar jump, and now all of a sudden he's become a prolific 3-point shooter. He has become an adequate to good player inside and in the mid-range. He's got the size. And that's what I think is amazing to me about Saddiq Bey, is we don't realize how big he is. And he can do a little bit of anything you ask. He can rebound. He can shoot. He can get down and dirty down low. Like, he does whatever you ask him to do. So I actually feel good about Saddiq going forward. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I know I've only been talking about offense. And that's what most of this talk's going to be about. Because on defense, you're kind of getting what you're getting. He's not a negative defender, but he's not a huge positive defender. But on the offensive end, and he does have the ability to get lost sometimes when playing defense, but on the offensive end, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that he's already the number 2 scoring option on this team. I think he has now shown that he is a better scoring option than Jeremy Grant. I just do. I think Cade is still your go-to guy, but Saddiq Bey has moved into that number 2 scoring role. And since Jeremy Grant has come back, and part of this could be because he's just getting back into the flow of the game and with the team, you still are seeing Saddiq Bey take as many shots as he was before Jeremy came back, and you're seeing Jeremy play off the ball a lot more. So I'm actually kind of excited about this because I think Jeremy's best role is off the ball, kind of a 3rd/4th scorer. Now that he's proven he can score, I think he can do more of it, and he can average closer to 15, 16 a game instead of that 12 that he was doing in Denver. But Saddiq Bey could be that guy that you're getting the ball to, and he could be your second 20-point-per-game guy on this team going forward. Don't worry, we'll talk plenty about the draft and how we could get another guy that could do that as well. But report card for Saddiq Bey, I'd give him a B+. I'd give him an A. I'd give him an A if we could just eliminate the first month or two of the season. Problem is we can't eliminate it. It was there, and it was a rough start. And I know a lot of players around the NBA were struggling, new ball, all this kind of stuff. Saddiq Bey is a guy who plays hard. He doesn't mess around, and you can tell he has absolutely been putting in the work, and he's a guy that I think could be a core part of the future for the Detroit Pistons. His ceiling, to me, is Chris Middleton. That's the ceiling to me, and how awesome would it be for him to be Chris Middleton? I have wanted that guy back ever since we traded him when we thought he was just a second rounder that would emerge or not end up being anything. He was just a good shooting guy with not a ton of athleticism. Man, how has that turned out for the Milwaukee Bucks? Well, maybe we found our Chris Middleton a few years later, many years later in the draft in Saddiq Bey. Tell me what you think. Do you like him? Is he one of those guys that you view as a core part of the Pistons going forward? I've been back and forth on this over the last couple months. I'm like, nope, don't trade him. He's the guy. Keep him around. Get rid of Jeremy Grant way before you get rid of Saddiq Bey. Let me know what you think. Leave your comment below underneath the subscribe button. And again, if you watch this long, you got to like it a little bit. Hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have your support. Go Pistons.